Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have another what's for dinner video, but this is a what's for dinner and a dessert. I have 3 dinners for you that I made this week. I ate leftovers the rest of the week, and I made a mock keto apple crisp using the, I don't know how you say it, it's a chayote squash? I'm not sure how you say it. Anyway, stay tuned for that recipe at the very end, and I will have any links to any of these recipes down below that will have the correct measurements, because I don't always know exactly what they are because I just kind of wing it most of the time. So I will have all the recipes linked down below. So let's get into the video. First up, we have a keto shepherd's pie. This is one that I kind of wing out, but I will link a recipe down below that will kind of go along with it. Ground beef, petite diced tomatoes, beef stock, cauliflower mash, onion, and zucchini and cauliflower is what I'm putting in this. Now I'm using the high-keyed cauliflower mash. I've never used it before. I've had it in my pantry for a long time, and I just wanted to use it up, so I thought this would be a great recipe when I'm trying to use up things in my pantry. So I have some ground beef here that is cooking, added some minced garlic to that. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and slice up my veggies. So I'm using some celery and some zucchini. Typically in shepherd's pie, when I make it for the family, I'll use peas or carrots, or peas and carrots, or corn. Just depends on whatever vegetable I have on hand, that's what I'll use. But since those are not necessarily keto friendly, I'm going to use celery, and I'm going to use some zucchini, which is a great substitute for the vegetables in shepherd's pie. Now again, I've never used that cauliflower mash. I usually just make my own cauliflower mash, which you could definitely do for this recipe. You don't have to have the high key one. I was just using up things in my pantry. So I will link some recipes down below for making cauliflower mash, and that's what you can use on this if you don't have what I have. Now that the vegetables are all cut, I'm going to go ahead and add them into the ground beef. The ground beef is not all the way cooked, as you can tell, but I want to saute these veggies up, and I like to saute them up to where they're still a little bit crispy. I like my zucchini to be a little bit crispy still, so not completely cooked through. So that's just my preference. So however you want to do it, you can always cook the vegetables ahead of time as well. I'm going to add in some salt. I just use pink Himalayan salt. And I'm also going to add in some pepper and some minced onion. I don't have any fresh onion. I keep forgetting to pick up some frozen onion when I go to the store. So I did not have any, but minced onion is a great substitute for that. So I'm just going to saute this up until it is all nice and cooked through and I have the right seasoning. And then after it's all cooked through, you're going to add in some tomatoes. So this is just a can of petite diced tomatoes. I don't drain it or anything. I usually just cook it until it's all the moisture is out of it. And I'm just adding in just a little bit of beef stock just to put a little bit more flavor into it. I like to use beef stock. Again, like I said, I don't really have a recipe for this. It's really just, I just kind of wing it. I've made shepherd's pie for years for my family, and so I just have never had a recipe for it. So I'm just going to stir that around until everything is nice and incorporated and the tomatoes start to get warmed up a little bit. And then we are going to make the cauliflower mash. So I just did the instructions on the back. I did 3 servings. That's what's nice about these packages is they are resealable, so you can do 1, 2, 3 servings, whatever you want to do. There's 7 servings per the bag, so just made it per package instructions. But again, I will have some cauliflower mash recipes down below. And just go ahead and put that on top. This is an Asagi, whatever that cheese is. It's a cheese one is what this one was, but I wanted to add just a little bit more cheese on top because I like my shepherd pie to be kind of cheesy, which not everybody does, but even when I make it for the family, I do add cheese into their mashed potatoes. And here it is finished. This topping came out super dark, but it was really good. I do recommend the high-key cauliflower mash. This is definitely a keeper recipe. I don't think I have made it with zucchini like this before, so I recommend it. The next recipe is going to be a sheet pan chicken fajitas. I've made these before, but this is actually a new recipe for me. I've never made this particular one with this marinade. So I'm using some avocado oil. Again, I will have the original recipe link down below where you can get all the measurements for that. So I have some avocado oil here, adding that in, and I'm putting everything into a gallon size resealable bag so I can marinate this. I started this at lunchtime, and that way it can marinate for about 3 or 4 hours, but that's definitely not necessary. It's just something I wanted to do. I'm adding in some lime juice to that. And then next up is adding in some chili powder. Now chili powder is pretty strong, so definitely, maybe adjust your measurements if you're not used to like the really strong taste of chili powder, because it can be a little bit strong. It's not very warm, but it can be strong. I'm also adding in, of course, some pink salt, and that's just up to you how much you want to add in. When I do marinades, I tend to add in a little bit more because I feel like it really helps elevate that taste of the marinades a lot. And next up, we're adding in some smoked paprika. So can you use regular paprika? Yes, but I like the flavor of smoked paprika when I'm making fajitas. I just think it just elevates that flavor. It is so good. So definitely pick some up. I got this one from Thrive Market. And then that's everything. So you're going to go ahead and just, you know, kind of mush it all together, and then you're going to add your chicken in. So I have these chicken tenders that I always get at Costco in the big packages. So this is perfect size for just me, since I'm the only one that eats the chicken typically. My son will eat it too. So this was me and him having it this night. So I'm just going to put the chicken in there. And like I said, this is about noon. It's at lunchtime. So I'm going to go ahead and let this marinate until I'm off work at 4:30. And then I will show you the next step. So after we get our chicken all in there and it's been marinating for at least 30 minutes, try to do at least 30 minutes. I'm gonna chop up the veggies. So I also did this at lunchtime, so they were all ready to go. So I have some red onion here, or purple onion, whatever you like to call it, and some bell peppers. So I have a red bell pepper, and I also have an orange bell pepper, and then I have a green bell pepper. So I do use bell peppers, and a lot of people on keto don't like peppers, but I don't have an issue with them. I'm also doing some jalapenos because I had some in my refrigerator to use up. And also, oh, looks like I have a yellow bell pepper too. There's my chicken that had been marinating for the last 4.5 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and add the veggies to that. And then I'm just going to toss that until it's coated with that marinade. And then I will be adding it to a sheet pan. Here's everything on the sheet pan and ready to go in the oven. Again, I'll have a link down below so you know the temperature and how long. I like to kind of separate the meat from the vegetables just so I can find it when I go to make my bowls or my wraps. Now, I'm also going to try again the cheese tortilla thing and see what I think. I didn't really like it that much last time, so I did less cheese this time, thinking I did too much cheese last time. Another thing that I did, last time I didn't know how to form it, and so I used my avocado oil bottle. I know, weird, but that's the only thing I could think of like on the fly. This time I thought about using my rolling pin. So I got my rolling pin out, used a piece of parchment paper. This worked perfectly, but I still was not a huge fan of the cheese tortilla. I don't know. I may try it again sometime with a different type of cheese, but I don't know, just really didn't work for me. So here everything is out of the oven, looking nice and toasty and beautiful. I love chicken fajitas. This marinade probably was not my favorite marinade, but I like to do it kind of in like an Italian dressing type marinade. That's just what I'm used to from a restaurant I used to work at. But I also had this as a bowl. So half of this is a bowl with some sour cream guacamole and some pico de gallo. And then I have the cheese wrap. This last dinner is super simple. I just had some pork chops and I was frying them up. I just wanted to show you that I love to fry my pork chops in coconut oil. I love this garlic flavored coconut oil. I also have a butter flavor coconut oil, which is amazing on pork chops. I found this keto chicken seasoning at Big Lots, so I thought I would try it out on the pork chops. So just frying them up in my skillet here, so nothing fancy on this dinner, but it's just giving you a good idea here. Big side salad with some sunflower seeds, cheese, cucumbers and tomatoes, and my homemade white wine vinaigrette, and some green beans, which I absolutely love green beans. And now for the dessert. So this is a keto quote apple crisp. These are the chayote squashes. I don't even know. Here's how it's spelled. So you guys pronounce that however you want. And then also you're going to need some brown sweetener. I just used the Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. You're gonna need some xantham gum, some cream of tartar. Is that how you say that? Lemon juice. I picked up this apple flavoring, completely optional. I just thought it might up the flavor of the apple taste. So I wasn't sure how these were going to peel, but they peeled beautifully. I mean, it was so easy to peel. Oh, by the way, again, I will have this recipe linked down below. I used 2 different recipes, so I will link the 2 recipes that I used down in the description box so you can kind of see how I kind of merged the 2 together. But I'll put everything out that I actually did myself for this recipe. So I'm just gonna go ahead and peel these, and then for my topping, instead of making like an apple crisp, I had this granola that I picked up on Amazon just randomly that I had left over in my cupboard. So I thought I'm just gonna go ahead and use that for the topping. I don't have to do anything to it. But one of these recipes I think both of them had kind of ideas for the toppings. So if you don't have any granola on hand, then you can just go ahead and make one of these toppings from this recipe, from the 2 recipes I will link down below. But if you have granola, it worked out beautifully. And this was a pecan cinnamon granola, which was beautiful. So first thing we're going to do, after you wash, peel, core, and dice your squash, you're going to heat a pot and melt some butter. So I used a 1/4 cup of butter in this, and you're just gonna wait till that gets all melty, and then we will add in the squash and we're gonna toss that to coat. So the squash, again, it came out really good. It really reminded me of apple, but I'll just tell you, I used 2 squashes and the recipe called for 4. I just didn't want to make a whole bunch because I didn't know how it would come out. And definitely this cooks down a lot. So if you want to make enough for like a family of 4, highly suggest you use 1 squash per person. Definitely. So pick up 4 if you want to make this. And both the recipes did say 4 squash. So I just used 2 because that's what I bought. So you're gonna go ahead and cook that for about 10 minutes with a lid on there. And then we're gonna add in our pumpkin pie spice. Now the recipe's called for all the spices, but pumpkin pie spice is my favorite. It's kind of like my go-to. And then a 1/4 cup of brown monk fruit sweetener. And then a 1/4 cup of confectioner sweetener. And then we're gonna add in some lemon juice. So you wanna do about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Well, my recipe's cut in half. Mine is made for 2 squash, just so you know. And now I'm adding in a teaspoon of this apple flavoring. Again, this is completely optional, but I think it did elevate it. I will link the one that I bought off of Amazon down below. Then a 1/4 teaspoon of xantham gum and a 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, or tartar, I don't know how you say that. And then we are going to, my tartar didn't come out of there. Then you're gonna stir it up till it's nice and incorporated. Again, as I always say with the xantham gum, make sure you are putting it into hot liquid, or else it will definitely not, it'll just get into big clumps. So that's why you wanna wait until everything's boiled before you add in that xantham gum. And so you wanna put the lid back on, bring it to a boil, and then you wanna let it simmer for about another 10 minutes. So I turn my burner down to like 4 and let it simmer. And then you want to have your pan sprayed with some cooking spray. So I'm just using a really small like pie plate here, but use whatever you'd like. And then look at that. Does not look like apple pie filling? You all look at it. That brown sugar monk fruit, oh my gosh. I will link the kind I use. I use Lakanto. I will link everything I use down below. Then after you get it all spread out, because you guys know how I am with like casseroles and everything like that, it has to be like completely flat and spread out. I know. And then we're going to add on our granola on top of that, or whatever filling you came up with for the top. Then just gonna sprinkle all that all over the place, you know, get it all situated. This one is so good. It has pumpkin seeds and pecans. It is such a good, it's only 1 net carb per serving. I love this. I just found it randomly on Amazon one day. Then you want to go and put it in the oven and bake it. This is it out of the oven, and look at it, you guys. It's so amazing. I put it in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes because everything was cooked, so I just wanted to kind of crisp up the granola. Added some sugar-free heavy cream, whipped cream, and look at this. You guys, it legit tastes like apple pie, and I'm not even kidding. It tastes like apple pie. And I think you could even fool somebody. Like, I told my husband what it was. He goes, oh, you shouldn't have told me. You should have just let me try it, and I would never have known, except for the sugar-free sweeteners, which he cannot stand. But you guys, this tastes good. Highly recommend it. The squash, it has the texture of apple. Maybe try the apple pie flavoring. I don't know if it really made that much of a difference or not, but you guys, this is really good. Highly recommend it. This is definitely one of those substitution keto recipes that works. So again, I will have everything linked down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.